Welcome to the SPEAKPact podcast, where high-performing speakers and the producers who hire them merge to give you the insider secrets to the lucrative speaking industry. Antoniette Roze, your podcast host and celebrated speaker agent, unveils insider success strategies. Discover a nexus of thought leaders and bookers, maximizing your potential in each and every episode. Your ticket to ultimate speaking success begins right here. Catch the transformative insights waiting for you on the SPEAKPact podcast, hosted by the industry powerhouse herself, Antoniette Roze.
Welcome back to SPEAKPact. We are thrilled that you're here with us today. I have on the stage Lance Sibik. He is somebody who took a corporate career and has now made a full-time career out of the power of his voice, out of speaking. And we're just going to follow his journey into how he did it and why he did it and all the bumps and bruises and victories along the way. So welcome, Lance.
Yeah, great to see you live and hear you live. I've been a big fan of the podcast and the show early morning on my walks in the dark or in the early morning hours of the gym. So great to be live with you.
Love that. I love that. And I love that you have put into practice some things in career that you're already rocking and rolling in. So I'm going to read a little bit about you and then we're going to dive right in. Lance Sibik is a keynote speaker, performance coach, and the author of Adversity Fuels Purpose. I want to talk about that a little bit. There we go. Lance Sibik. Love it. He has spent 22 years in sales and leadership roles in financial services, so corporate. So are you still doing that? Are you speaking full time? Yep. In his free time, he enjoys spending time with his family, exercising, and volunteering in his community. So tell me, what took you out of, I would think that's a pretty lucrative, it's a hot career, right? So what took you from that to just really doubling down on your own voice and going for it?
Yeah, such a great question to kick us off and a big question. And so I'm going to do the best I can to condense it down and leave room for follow-up questions. I spent 22 years, as you said, in corporate sales and leadership, primarily in banking, wealth management, financial services. My last title was Senior Vice President, Divisional Sales Director. I had direct reports. I was leading what I called boot camps, these 2-day trainings with financial advisors all across the country. I was traveling multiple states. I was and am still securities licensed. I had designations like the CFP, Certified Financial Planner, which I still hold today. In many ways, as you said, I was operating at the top of my game. You know, I had made it to a pretty substantial level with still lots of room to grow. But it was in that last year or two where I was starting to sense this, what I'll just call a calling to share some of my past, some of my stories, some of my lessons learned. And I got some opportunities in that past year or two while I was still working to speak to high school students in my city of Charlotte, North Carolina, also some local men's groups and church groups. And as I would start to share 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes of my story, of messaging, of best practices while I had a job, people in the audience would come up to me and say, "Hey, Lance, that was really good. You should do more of that. You have a gift of speaking. Your talk, your message impacted me in this way versus that way." And so as I was hearing that and I was going through that last year or two of corporate, I started thinking about maybe I was onto something and what do I do with this thing that I'm just doing on the side here and there for free within the community.
Couple sentences you said there was really telling. So you said, while I was working or while I had a job, and you actually still are working and you still have a job. It's just different. But I know when you're doing what you love, what you feel called to do, and it's work, but it's a different kind of energy. It's a different kind of work. And I love the way that you kind of said, while I was working, while I had a job, and you actually still do. You want to talk to that? What is different in the average day of the life of Lance Sibik now versus then?
Yeah, for sure. Well, one thing I would make sure I point out, and also for the listeners that still have a W 2 job, you're still a corporate employee or an employee somewhere. I heard about coaching. And it really wasn't something I was all too familiar with, but I started following a variety of coaches on LinkedIn, and I started to learn more about this concept of coaching and actually hiring someone outside of work, hiring someone outside of friends or family or mentors to become a coach, actually pay them and go through programming. And part of that process, I discovered that I could take what I knew in my professional experience combined with my personal journey and stories, and I could start posting and sharing that on LinkedIn, which was something I had never done prior to 2023. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Instagram. I don't have TikTok. I only had LinkedIn, and in many ways, it was an online resume. And so I just started sharing on LinkedIn on a daily basis, just started posting, like just getting stuff out of my head, working with this coach while I was also speaking on the side for free, as I said, in these high schools and these men's groups and church groups. So when I got to a place where I went through a reduction in force from my company, myself and many members of my team went through a reduction in force in December of 2023. I had already been working with a coach for 18 months. I had already been posting on LinkedIn for, call it, a year. I had already started speaking on the side for free. And so instead of going back to W 2 work, which would have been the logical, rational thing to do with a spouse that doesn't work and provide income and two kids to still raise, I decided to make a leap and start off at zero to see if I can actually now get paid to be a speaker. And so that's the journey that I started to go on. And so, go ahead.
Oh, I love this because that takes a lot of courage. You have a wife who's a full-time, she works her bottom off,
Homemaker. Yeah.
I'm sure, but she has a full-time job at home. So not income producing, life producing, and you're the breadwinner. How did you, and as a man too, I'm just same with women in a different way, but as a man, you have that weight on your shoulder of knowing that those three human beings are really dependent on you. I'm sure there were mind traps. I'm sure there were doubts. How did you get past that? What made you say, you know what? I am going to double down and I'm going to make it.
Big, big question and very challenging time. Not only for me, but certainly for my wife, because to your point, she was depending on me for income. She had always known me to be an employee, senior vice president, salary, quarterly bonuses, benefits, 401k match, stock options, paid holidays. And I want to go to zero income and start spending our savings and investments to pay the bills while I figured out if somebody was willing to pay me to speak. Like, do people really get paid to speak? And so it was a very difficult time for me to, number one, for myself, go through an identity shift where, in many ways, hey, my salary and my title and my credentials and those things were very defining for me, as they are for many other people, in regard to purpose and status and credibility, to then say, no, like, I'm going to leave a corporation and just be a standalone solopreneur with zero income, zero title, no direct reports, and see if I can make it, was a big identity shift. And again, I'll credit coaching as being a big part of me helping to detach from my prior life and what I used to
Yeah.
be, to step into taking this bold leap of faith. Now, I talk about this in my book, in my keynote talk, Adversity Fuels Purpose. I had a mentee, and his name is Chad, and he's 33 years old at the time. Long story short, Chad went to sleep on a Sunday night at 33 years old, and he didn't wake up on a Monday morning. He
Ooh.
died in his sleep to an undiagnosed heart condition.
Mm.
And that was one of several catalysts that got me to a place where I said, listen, tomorrow really isn't promised. I could go to sleep tonight and not wake up tomorrow morning. And by golly, I'm not taking this to my grave. I'm going to at least give myself a shot to see if I can go all in on being a keynote speaker and go all in on this message and see if I can get booked and paid to speak. And if it doesn't work out, guess what? I can always go get a job. I've proven that for 22 years. That will be there if and when this doesn't work out. But by golly, I'm going to go all in and prove to myself and my wife and lots of other people that I can do this thing.
Wow. Okay. I love this story because it is a big question mark. And a lot is about whether or not you're going to go for it all in, which just by the fact that you got a mentor means that you were serious and that you looked at speaking not as that side gig, but that a serious business, and a serious business requires serious investment, serious risk. And there's no upper six-figure, seven-figure business you can build that isn't going to take some risk and some investment, not just monetarily, of course, of that, but of your life force. And you decided it was worth it. So I want to talk a little bit about what was that driving message behind you, right? Fueling you in a moment. But I do love that you honed in, you recognized, maybe it was through your coach, I don't know, but you recognized that LinkedIn is the platform for you if you're a serious speaker. Playing around on Facebook and not dissing any of the other ones, right? There's speakers who have made it on TikTok and different places. But for the most part, especially if you do the kind of coaching side of things that you do, so we'll talk about that in a moment as well, it's better to go deep than wide. For us, LinkedIn all the way. Like that's where I hang out. And my team takes clips of what I do on LinkedIn and they'll put it on Facebook, Instagram, but I'm hardly there. If people want interaction with me, LinkedIn's where I am. Right. So a little bit of presence in other places, which probably isn't even necessary because we don't get a whole lot of interaction there. But many of my speakers, 20 to 30% of their engagements either come directly through LinkedIn or they're chosen over other possibilities from their activity on LinkedIn. So they're already being looked at. Then their LinkedIn is kind of checked out. And, you can have all the beautiful speaker assets and resources in the world, and they're glad you have them, but they set them aside. They Google your name and they look you up on LinkedIn. And so you're doing a very smart thing, Lance, being on a top podcast. And I'm very, very honored that I'm happen to be one that you love listening to, because being searchable not only on Google, but now you've got SEO for your own website. You have AEO, right, which I guess is a new thing for being able to be found in the AI universe. And then all the other ways, right? People will search you. They're just looking for, okay, is my job secure if I choose him over the other 5 or 7 people I could bring in? That's really all they're looking for. They want to know other people. Nobody wants to be the first to take a gamble on you. They want to know other people have taken a gamble on you. And so it was really, really smart that you honed in and kind of went all in on LinkedIn. Before we hop into your actual message, like what fuels you, can you tell me anything that might help our SpeakPact listeners as to there's people out there that kind of flounder in LinkedIn, and there's ones who really get it and get some real traction there. What did you discover on that platform?
LinkedIn is the only social media I have. I started posting on LinkedIn because my coach was pushing me and urging me to back in 2023, early 2023. And I've been posting on LinkedIn every day at 7:30 a.m. Eastern.
Wow.
Every single day. I have a saying, keep it simple, stay consistent, achieve results. Every single day at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. So that's number one. I would tell your listeners, pick a platform, come up with a schedule, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, and pick a specific time and post consistently on that schedule.
So when you say post, Lance, are you doing a quick live, or do you rotate like static and then carousel and live? So what does that mean?
Yeah, most of my posts are going to be a picture and text message with occasional me speaking into a camera and 30 to 60-second clips that I've pulled out of my 45-minute keynote. And so that's the mix that I currently use today. And I would also say, secondly, to the listeners, it is definitely a slow burn, or at least it has been for me. And I'll give you an example. I know we haven't talked about the other side of my business yet, which is performance coaching, but I just signed a new coaching client today, and he's been following me on LinkedIn for 1 whole year, seeing my post, reading my post, seeing my videos. So much so that by the time he got to the first call with me today, he already felt like he knew me, he liked me, and he trusted me. And he could see himself in my journey, in my stories, in my messaging, in the outcomes that I can provide for him, like I've provided for past clients, that he pulls out his credit card and he signs up today as a coaching client. The same thing goes for speaking. I can send hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of DMs on LinkedIn to meeting planners, event planners, national sales managers, divisional sales managers, hundreds. And it may take hundreds to get one response, to get one discovery call, to then get the one speaking engagement. But if I'm not showing up every single day, then they're not seeing me. And oftentimes the people that hire me to speak or coach are oftentimes the ones that may never even hit the like button on my post, may never comment on my post, but they're always watching. And then when they're ready, they will engage. And so that would also be my encouragement to your audience, that it is a high volume game, but it also can take some time to develop that know, like, and trust factor, which is why you should have started yesterday. If you haven't started yesterday, then start today and to commit to some regular schedule.
So much. That's the price of admission right there. If we just clip that part out, what you just said, that is worth the 45 minutes we're gonna spend together, because that's it. It's all about proximity, consistency, and tenacity. You don't give up when it seems like not a lot is happening. That is it. That's it. There's no secret formula other than that, and it's not much of a secret, right? It's the grassroots of how you're really going to make it in this industry. And you also touched on that it takes hundreds. It doesn't take 20 here and 20 there. So how do you manage that, Lance? You're a dad, you are coaching people, and we'll step into that in a moment, consulting people, and you're speaking. There's a lot going on in your life. I know that you're an active human being. So is it you alone that's doing all of that, or do you have an assistant?
Yeah, I want to go back. I'm going to answer that, but I also want to double down, triple down on what you said. Tenacity, consistency. Days and weeks can go by. Nobody's booked a new discovery call with me to inquire about speaking or coaching. And in those days and in those weeks, when it's just me in my own office here, I don't have a corporate W-2 job. I don't have direct reports. I don't know where my next speaking engagement's coming from. I don't know where my next new coaching client's coming from. That head trash can get very real around, why am I doing this? I could just go get senior vice president job like I had for 22 years. Like, why am I doing this? This is not fun. This is awful in many ways. I have to come back to the mission. I have to come back to the purpose. I have to come back to the mission. Otherwise, it's not worth it to me. And if I would have given up, I think about just in the past couple of weeks, I picked up 7 new coaching clients. I picked up 3 new speaking engagements. If I would have given up a month ago, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. When it got really, really tough, like, why am I doing this? And so that would also be my encouragement to your listeners. We all have different circumstances, whether it's financial circumstances, whether we all just have certain limits where we can't take it anymore. But oftentimes we just need to keep going through that first year and 2 years and 3 years so we can reap the benefits and rewards that some of the speakers that we look up to are reaping right now, but they got through those early days and months and years. So that'd be my comment.
Thank you for making us pause there, Lance, because that too is just so vital. I see so many really powerful voices either shrink back or disappear altogether because it's not happening, quote unquote, fast enough. And what is sad to me is they understand that if you go and get a loan to build a gas station on a corner lot, the loan officer is going to say, how are you going to support yourself for the next 4 years? Right? Because it's not going to be the gas station. And they're always working to that day where they pay their dues and then it's profitable. And for some reason, that doesn't translate into the speaking career. It took Tony Robbins 12 years to become the name that people even began to recognize. But was it worth it? All those lives, if he would have shrunk back or disappeared, all those lives who have been touched in the powerful way that only he can do that, whether you're a fan of his or not, it's undeniable that he has affected a lot of lives. Lance Sibik, if you were to shrink back or give up altogether, there are people laying awake at night for the solutions and the inspiration that you alone bring. All that would go away, right? So I'll let you answer this next question, but then we're going to dive into what is that mission that fuels you. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, thank you for just doubling and tripling down on that. And that's what I appreciate about this podcast, this show, this conversation with you. And my mission for coming on here was just to keep it real, for the listeners out there, to give you the real insights and the skinny on how hard it is, especially in the early days, weeks and months and years, to get up and running. Number 2, on your question, I do have a VA, a virtual assistant, for people that don't know what that stands for, that works with me 6 hours per day. And she helps send DMs. She helps send emails. She manages my website, those types of things. And so between her outreach and my outreach, we're covering a lot of ground. But it is certainly a long game. It is a high volume
And you're
game.
talking 6 hours a day. You're not talking about, I bring somebody in for an hour or 2 a day.
6 hours a day.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, she lives in Pakistan. For people that don't understand the virtual assistant business, which I know that's a part of what you do, there are virtual assistants that work all over the world and that are eager to work with you and do some of this work with you and for you to create some additional leverage. And I would highly recommend, if you have the financial ability, to look into that. And to your point, Antoniette, I often use like the Subway sandwich franchise example. And I'll say, hey, listen, if you were to open up a Subway franchise next Monday morning, like, how much would that cost you to just get the thing open day one, to have all the food ready, to train and hire employees, and you haven't even sold one sandwich, one bag of chips, and one drink? And then how long would it take you to break even, much less consider generating a profit? Well, it'd be 2 or 3 years. And so people have to look at this business in a similar way. You're either going to spend down your savings and investments and or take out a loan, and you're going to go through some tougher times in the beginning so that you can reap the potential rewards of the future. And it's like any other business owner. It's just a slightly different view of what you're doing with a lot less overhead and higher margins, as you continue to get some momentum. So I'm glad you.
Has it been worth it, Lance?
Yeah, absolutely. It's working. But like maybe other listeners, I also just have to keep going because just because I had great speaking engagements so far this year, the other ones for this year coming or the ones next year, they don't book themselves. And, I have to also trust the process and the speakers that have gone before me to get that flywheel churning so that referrals start to come in. I can raise my prices. All of that will not come true unless I keep going.
Right. That engine always has to be running. I mean, if the business is running, the engine is running. I don't know where the mentality came in that you get a few gigs and you're off to the races. That's great. And one engagement should turn into more engagements, but it's still, you're always, like Walmart. Why are they still running ads? Everybody knows what Walmart is, right? Or Target or Macy's. Is Macy's still around? Anyway, they all, if they're still around, they're still running their promotions and they're staying in your face. They're staying where their people gather like grapes. And no different if you're going to have that successful, consistent income certainty on your calendar career. That's what it takes. I just love that you're diving into this. Okay, I'm gonna let you
Well,
talk.
this is a timely example of there again, based on what you just said. Last September 2025, I was hired to speak at a school superintendent conference. And so there were 75 school superintendents at this conference. All of them had doctor in front of their name, which, oh, by the way, I do not. And I had never talked to school superintendents, but I could still carry my message there and make it impactful and tailor it to them. Well, I got great reviews, made lots of connections, got all these school superintendents' name and email and phone numbers. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I did so great. All of these school superintendents are going to hire me to now speak to their local school district, their teachers, their principals, their high school students. That's just going to all of a sudden come pouring in. That's not the way it works. But here I am in June of 2026. Just this morning, I got booked by one of those school superintendents to speak at her staff meeting next month in July of her principals and assistant principals and staff. In addition to that, to speak later this year to her high school and all the high school students. But that was September 2025 when she first met me at a school superintendent conference. Fast forward to June to get booked to speak with her in July and later this year. And so that's why I say, if I would have given up a month ago, I wouldn't have allowed that to play out long enough to then be able to say what I just said to you today.
This is just so vital. And I hope that I think people will hear what they want to hear, even if they know the truth. And I'm really glad that we're sticking a pin in this because it's so important. The only speakers that are ever not happy with our agency, sadly, I would wish that I could say never, but are the ones that really felt like they should be six-figure speakers in 6 months or even a year. There's great things that happen within that time, but that's on the road to the journey, right? That's on the road to the first big milestone, and then you can create your next milestones. But if you step into this career with that long vision, so if you were to open Subway or a gas station on the side of the street, you would have to have either investments that you have elsewhere or get a loan big enough to carry you and your family through those few building years. And on the other side of it, there is momentum and things that happen that grow alongside you. Like you're not pushing uphill so much, but you're still always going to be building. So this is just so important. There's beautiful voices out there that have the wrong idea, even though they're hearing us. They're not really hearing us. This is a business. Businesses are hard to build, but this also, you on the other side, you wind up with a life of impact, a really pretty good living, right? And freedom. Time and money freedom equals, as you do good, you get to do more good, right? It equals so much. So if you're serious, let's be serious. And let's continue to hear what Lance has to say. All right. So you have an assistant. You started off getting yourself some coaching, right? Always look to the people who are where you want to be. And then once you get there, look to the next people of where you want to be and bring them into your fold, whether you're hiring them or partnering with them, whatever it is that you're doing. That's how you move forward. You're not really going to move forward with looking at all of the problems or looking at, oh, this is hard, right? That's a mind trap. And you've not only overcome that in your own life and career, but also you help other people overcome that as well. So talk to us a little bit about how speaking fuels your coaching and vice versa. How do you do that?
Yeah, my keynote talk, my signature talk, Adversity Fuels Purpose, is a talk designed to get people to feel something, to think a different way, and to act as a result of my talk. It's designed to shake them up and wake them up, to get them to consider how to not get stuck in their adversity, whether that be personal or professional, but instead look for ways to take that same adversity that's seeking to box them in or hold them back, keep them stuck, to fuel their purpose, to inspire the impact they can have in people's lives, in their jobs, that can also be a place of success and significance. I've had some coaching clients as a result of speaking, but it's not as many as some might think, because I'm not being hired to come in, for example, and deliver a preview to my program or a preview to my training. The audience members see me as Lance Sibik, the speaker with this message, who's going to do a book signing event. And the company that hired me isn't hiring me to plant little opportunities to suggest there's a way to provide follow-up coaching. I'm there to speak, to deliver this message. And then, oh, by the way, let them know that I also run a coaching practice. Some of my speaking engagements have come from coaching clients that found me on LinkedIn. And then, oh, by the way, they're in a position where they're a national sales manager. And so because they're a coaching client and they're a national sales manager, they also host meetings, events, or trainings. And then they can introduce me as Lance Sibik, the speaker. I haven't quite mastered the way to make that as efficient, as effective as maybe some others are doing. But there probably are some opportunities to do that and make that more connected, so that coaching clients see me as the speaker also, and speaking audiences see potentially hiring me as their performance coach as a natural next step if my message connected with them.
Yeah. Okay. Such an honest, perfect answer, really. And I'll just share. We just started doing this. This is something we've always done for clients, but we're actually opening it up now to the public, our Speaker Revenue Lab. And we really go deep into how do you bridge a paid opportunity where you're not paid to promote your thing, right? And at the same time, attract those right fit people sitting in your audience that want more. You're going to bring something, you're going to light something up in them, and then say goodbye, right? There's a way to bridge that very naturally, and it's we problem free, meaning the organizer is going to be happy that you did because you kind of served at a higher level. So there's ways to do that. We go over that in the Speaker Revenue Lab. So if you're listening to us, definitely hop into that .com, speakerrevenuelab.com. But more importantly than that, I want people to know how they can find you, because there's going to be listeners on this show on both sides of the aisle, those who are in the audience and those who would actually want to bring you in. So what's the best way, Lance, how do you like to be found?
Yeah, thanks for the question. LanceSibik.com, CIB as in boy, IK.com, LanceSibik.com. And then also LinkedIn, as I mentioned earlier in the show, is where I hang out. I post daily at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. And so I'd encourage you to connect with me there. Let me know you listened to me, heard us on the show here. And if you're open to connecting, you'll see right there on my LinkedIn page an opportunity to book a 15-minute meet and greet call.
Yeah. So Lance, you've got a really great LinkedIn page. So it's just linkedin.com/IN /L and then Cibik, Cibik. So definitely connect with Lance, superhero here. So tell me a little bit about, do you coach and consult on the topic of your book or the topic of your talks? Like, are they all related, or are they a stair step? Like, there's your talk and then your book, or your book and then your talk, and then it's talk to us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah.
So this is like a customer journey. You're taking a human being who doesn't know who Lance Sibik is, and you're taking them on a stair step journey. So yeah, I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, the main talk is Adversity Fuels Purpose. It's also the title of the book, Adversity Fuels Purpose. And it's a motivational talk. It's an inspirational talk. It's going to get people to laugh a little bit. It's likely also to get people to tear up and or cry a bit. As one lady in the audience said, "Dang it, Lance, you didn't warn me that you were going to make me cry on 3 different occasions. And there were no tissues on the table. And I'm wiping my eyes with my sleeve and my glasses are fogging up. How dare you? Ha, ha, ha." But it's also going to get people fired up. You know, as one audience member said, if he would have known that I was speaking that day, he would have not needed coffee, because when I got to that part of my talk, he felt like he wanted to jump out of his seat and run through a brick wall. And so it's definitely high feelings based, high impact based. It's focused on getting the audience to determine where there's misalignment between what they've defined as their purpose versus how they're showing up each and every day. Where is their misalignment?
Okay, let's pause right here for a second, because this is so important. So people, if you've heard my show, you've heard me say this, but people do not necessarily remember what you say. They absolutely remember how you made them feel and how you spurred them into action. So it's not a game to utilize emotions. It's you care enough about your messaging to understand the rhythm of a talk, and emotions have to come into that. So I happen to be just a very matter of fact, like, I just want to get the information out, and I've had to work at it. It's a learned muscles. For some of us, comes a little bit more naturally. For others, we've got to actually learn it. So how did you discover that, Lance? Nobody's buying information anymore. I mean, information is so easy to get. They're buying an experience that's going to move them. So how did you figure that recipe out for you?
Yeah, I mean, you're saying some of what I would suggest to a meeting planner, event planner, a sales manager that might hire me. Hey, listen, you're going to put your people in a room all day on day one, as an example, and you're going to give them information on the markets and the economy and technology and products and services and company initiatives. That's great. Okay. People need updates and information. But when it comes to 4 o'clock and you still want to keep them in that room, that's where you're going to bring me in, because they're going to need a coffee. They're dozing off a little bit, and I'm going to shake them up and wake them up. I'm going to get them to think, feel, and act differently heading into that cocktail hour, heading to that dinner, along with a book signing event. Now, for me, I can do information education presentations. I was doing those for 22 years in my corporate career. I'm here to provide information. I'm here to provide you updates. I'm here to provide training. I'm here to show you how to do something more efficiently and effectively. But when I started crafting my signature talk, I started introducing stories about mainly my life in conjunction with some other people's lives. And in those stories, I'm creating, to your point, feelings and emotion that are connecting to laughter, sadness, or reflection, as well as motivation and encouragement. And so for me, it's just a byproduct of me sharing very openly, vulnerably, authentically, and in a real way, straight from my heart, that people can feel. It's not a canned presentation. And I think that's the difference maker.
It's encouraging to hear you say this, because this means humans will always be necessary. Right? I think there are a lot of people out there that feel like the age that we're in is a little bit of a death knell for the speaker, and maybe even the corporate trainer, or even the consultant. I see the exact opposite, being this close into the industry. I'd like to know what you're seeing, Lance. Are you seeing a bright future? Or are you seeing a diminishing future in this information, not information, but what would you call it? Just a thought leadership space that you're in?
Yeah, look, I think as long as humans want to connect with humans, I'm good. As long as humans, whether they're speaking audiences or coaching clients, as long as they want to still connect with humans, then I'm good, because I'm going to be able to connect with them from an emotional perspective, from an empathetic perspective. So I feel good about that. As long as humans want to connect with humans, then I'm good. And oftentimes, for example, in my coaching practice, a big pillar is on health. Many of my coaching clients want to get healthier. They want to lose weight. They want to feel better. They want to look better. They want to sleep better. They want to perform better. They want to be more productive. Well, guess what? We've got to dial in their nutrition. We got to get them exercising more. And then, oh, by the way, over 50% of my coaching clients want to minimize or eliminate alcohol because it's holding them back from maximizing their life and also their business. Well, okay, cool. To your point earlier, information's free. Go chat GPT a diet nutrition plan, an exercise plan. Go on YouTube and watch videos for hours and days and weeks, and go listen to podcasts and go read books. I'm not creating any new information. So why are people hiring me? They're hiring me because they want someone that gets them, that's going to ask them questions, that's going to say things to them that nobody would else say, someone that's going to help sort through the chaos, help them plan and motivate and encourage them and hold them accountable. They want a person, not information, not a robot, not an app from your phone. I'm not saying those tools aren't helpful, but as long as people want to connect with people, then you're good, I'm good, we're good. When that changes, let's talk in, I don't know, 10, 20, 50, 100 years.
Yeah, bullseye. I agree with every word you just said. That is so true. And I think the more the digital age rises, the more that craving for that human connection is going to grow too. So we're in a good space,
Yeah.
and actually a pretty exciting time. All right, as a SpeakPact fan, thank you very much. The last, as we close, I want this to be, to your point, I want this to be an action oriented 45 minutes that people have shared with us, Lance. And if you had to synthesize it down to something that our listeners could put into action today to perform better, whichever direction you want to take them, to excel in one area of their life over that maybe that they've just felt sluggish in, what is something they can do right now without a whole lot of thought to actually move the dial?
Well, you've used this word multiple times. You can go back and listen and read the transcript. You've used this word action multiple times. And in my keynote talk and in my book, I talk about, number one, we have to decide that we're going to be the change. It's a mindset shift. What do we want to be doing and who do we want to become? Most people stop there. They decide they want something different. They decide they want to be someone different. Most people don't go to step two, rising up to take messy action versus no action, even when the future is unclear, while you figure it out along the way. That would be my encouragement to the listeners. There is something that you've been thinking about doing for a week, weeks, months, or maybe some of you years. Take messy action. Don't wait for the T's to be crossed, the I's to be dotted. For example, as I mentioned earlier, I had never ever posted on LinkedIn. I don't have Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, but I took messy action to start posting on LinkedIn every day, even though I didn't know exactly what my messaging was going to be, even though I didn't have the business perfectly figured out. I didn't have a speaking business. I didn't have a speaking signature talk title. I didn't write a book at that time. None of that. But you and I would not be speaking today if I had not taken messy action versus no action. That'd be my encouragement to the listener. do that thing that you've been thinking about doing. Just take some action on it.
Do it. Do it. Oh gosh. Okay. This is a perfect way to end because I love just very recently this morning, I heard from someone who really wants to kickstart their career, but they've got this like list between them and actually getting started. And half of that list, they're going to achieve that and then have to scrap it and start all over. And I was trying to convey it, but we're here for people who are ready. We're not necessarily going to drag you because I want to work with action takers, right? I know that you're the same way. So, number one, there's a cost of inaction. There's a huge cost of waiting. But if you build it, they're not going to come. You want to build with your people because you're collecting data all along the way. You're like, oh, I thought, if I would have built it before now, I would have built this whole other wing of things that actually is not really what they want. They really want this, or is actually really not what I feel like that emerging superpower is coming out of me, is coming this whole other direction that I did not foresee. So number one, you're building your muscles, you're building that muscle memory, and especially those fast twitch muscles that we know are big muscle groups, right? But we don't really always understand the nuances, those little fast twitch muscles that get us to where we want to go. As you're practicing the thing, imperfect, I love that. Progress, not perfection. Scrappy's the new perfect. We've heard that. It's not just because you're just, oh gosh, I'm just going to do it, which if that's what you need to do, good. Oh gosh, go do it. But it's more that you understand the value of number one, action. Because if you're not taking action, it means you're standing still, which that's not so good. But number two, the power of data. If you're collecting, yeah, as you rise, so does your audience, so does your knowledge. It's a living, breathing career. And because of that, you're never going to get it perfect. Great. That's fabulous. You're always going to be figuring it out, and people's moods are going to change, and something's going to happen in the world. And if you're always waiting to get that perfect whatever together, you're standing still. It's really just an excuse. So thank you for bringing that to the table, Lance. All right. Any last words to our SpeakPact audience before we head out?
I've enjoyed my time. I'll continue to be a listener early morning, taking you and your audience with me wherever I am, walking or at the gym.
Well,
Thanks
that's
for
a sign
having
of
me.
a leader right there. The fact that you're up in the morning, you're out the door doing the thing. I'm recently putting that into practice. I live right on a lake, which I love. And I've just been, to get me up and awake at night, I've been sleeping with my curtains open so that the light hits me. That is one thing that I put into practice that gets me to do the next thing. So I think that that's just it's a really good example that you're setting. Number one, you're up and at 'em. And number two, you're fueling yourself with those words, those things that are going to inspire you to do, what is that? The 1% better. I'm not part of that club, but just a little bit better every single day, a little bit more action every single day, and you're going to hit your marks. So thank you for bringing that inspiration. Hold up your book one more time.
Here we go.
Go get it. Adversity Fuels Purpose, Lance Sibik, Cibik. Grab it. I'm assuming it's on Amazon. It's in Barnes & Noble, all the places.
Yep. Both Amazon and Barnes & Noble, correct.
Grab the book, connect with Lance on LinkedIn, and definitely, if you got some value out of this episode, share it, because posting it forward, paying it forward is also it's spreading goodness. So definitely do that as well. And we will see you on the next episode. Ciao, ciao for now.
Thank you for listening to the SpeakPact podcast. To become a recommended speaker of Antoniette's WPC speaker agency, or you are a host or planner looking for a dynamic expert in optimized performance, Antoniette would like to personally meet with you. Secure a time with her at speakerbooker.com. Again, that is speakerbooker.com. It all begins with a vision, a voice, and a pact to impact. Join the SpeakPact movement by joining our new private Facebook group at the link in our show notes. Find us on nearly every social media platform at One Antoniette. That's number 1, ANTONIETTE, or simply hashtag SpeakPact.